Okay, we're live. Nice. Well, welcome everyone to the weekly Wake Up Your Love Life live stream. So excited to be back. This is like we're launching this new name called the weekly Wake Up Your Love Life live stream. And I'm excited today because we're going to be also including, and I want to introduce to you Elizabeth Loving. She's going to be also a wake and dating coach. And she is a licensed professional counselor. She has a master NLP practitioner and trainer, so she is, and she with over 20 years of experience working with people and achieving their goals. So welcome, Elizabeth.
Thank you.
And I'm excited to have you on the show. I think it's a lot more fun to have, kind of dialogue than it is just me just talking, talking head. So I'm so excited to have you here. You're also so much fun, and so I think we're going to have a great time today.
I'm excited to be here.
Yay, me too. Okay, so today we're going to be talking about, I'm going to go ahead and show it, what we're going to be talking about here. Today's topic is how to shift these 4 common mental roadblocks to dating. Okay, so that's what we're going to be talking about today. And so let's go ahead and let's see. So
although again, there's not only 4, there's a million.
Yeah, definitely.
Everybody has their own personal version, but 4 of them are a good place to start to see if you recognize yourself.
Yes, definitely. And these are like what we came up, like we said, these just happen to be the 4 that are roadblocks and blocks to dating and how you could shift them to have an incredible love life. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. Let's go and get started with the first one. And the first one is the pleaser. Okay. Here it is. All right. I have my notes here. Okay, the pleaser. So when you think of a pleaser, what kind of person do you think a pleaser is? So these are the roadblocks. These are like things that people do that block love coming to them. This is who they're being. They're being a pleaser, right? So they're more worried about what others think about themselves, right? They think about, oh, I'm so worried what other people think, than about being truly who you are, right? You're trying to fit into the mold of what you think others would like you to be instead of just being yourself. And you're so, being so interested in somebody else, you're not really even sharing yourself, or you're trying to fit into how you think they want to be again, like I said. So, Liz, anything else you want to add there?
The first thing that comes up is a person who will remain unnamed, my stepmother. When I would used to go over to the house, when she first married my father, she would be so interested in pleasing me that if she didn't have the right kind of half and half, she would go into this apology state where I, like as the guest, actually felt guilty that she didn't have what I wanted. But a lot of apologies and really so concerned about me, it was actually uncomfortable. And I know I had to get over some of that. One time in my 20s, someone said, because I also am a massage therapist, that I could come to a party if I didn't feel the need to also rub everybody's shoulders. I could also just bring me, right? Because people weren't getting to get to know me. And so people, sometimes we just don't even know that we're doing it. And other times people are overboard. So I'm sure everybody knows a pleaser or has been some form of pleaser in their life, but it shows up in all kinds of scenarios, not just in dating, but definitely in dating.
Yeah, definitely. And that's a great example. I mean, for me, I think I used to be a pleaser. One thing you can kind of see a pleaser is when they say, "Oh, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
Say sorry all the time. All the time. It was terrible. I remember now, I was at a thing recently and they said, if you say you're sorry, you have to say I'm sexy afterwards.
Oh, that's good. That's good. I like, you know what though? The one thing I did to help someone break that is if I said I'm sorry, I asked them, say, why? Did you burp? And so, because you can engage your friends in having you like start to get clear that you apologize, like your middle name's I'm sorry.
Mm-mm. Yeah, that's great. I love that. Did you burp? Did you fart? What did you do?
Yeah. Did you pass gas? What's going on here? Yeah.
Did you, come on, I don't know. I'm just saying, like, what did you do that you would say you're sorry for? So again, if you say you're, again, like saying enrolling your friends, you can say, if I say I'm sorry, tell me to say I'm sexy. So to say I'm sexy.
I like the I'm sexy. Like that's fabulous. That's better than did you burp. But yeah, both work, whatever works for you.
Yeah, exactly. So a lot of times there's some limiting beliefs around being a pleaser. So Liz, do you want to say some of those things?
Sure. Yeah. One of the things Janet and I have personally delved into and studied extensively is not only, you can stop saying you're sorry, but the deeper level and what Janet's really invested and I'm invested in helping you get to is what is the limiting belief that has you apologizing all the time or invested in everybody else. These are a few of them, but everyone's going to have their own personal flavor. But things like they won't like the real me. But we're not even aware that that's the belief under there. That's the roadblock that has to be discovered. And Janet and I are kind of archaeologists of that. So and Janet is the queen of finding the limiting belief. I personally have worked with her, and she has found things that after becoming a licensed counselor and doing 20 years of work, I didn't know were there. So of highest regard for you, Janet. I have to be like them to have them like me. It's better to go with the flow than rock the boat. Those are just some of the things that we may be unaware are operating in our system when we're meeting new people.
Yeah, and that just happened, that just kind of ruins the relationship. So, for one thing, I had a client, and this one particular client, he was definitely a pleaser, but he didn't realize it really ruined his marriage. He thought it was his wife that ruined his marriage, but he has responsibility in it too. And what happened was when he was young, his parents would fight all the time. His parents were fighting all the time. And he hated that. He would get anxiety around it, didn't like it. And so when he, in response to that, when he started dating and found this woman he loved and got married, when there was things that he didn't like about her, he wouldn't say anything. And it wasn't anything horrible, but it just he would just allow things to happen that he didn't really want to happen. Maybe she wanted to go do this. He didn't really want to do that at all. Or he didn't want to wear this something and she would make him wear it. I don't know all the different scenarios, but those are the kind of things a pleaser would do. They would just go ahead and go with the flow, just do whatever needs to be done to not rock the boat. Because it's more important to keep the peace than it is to actually communicate and say what's there for you.
Well, and in the end, the only person without peace is the pleaser. So everyone else has peace of mind, and the pleaser has this piled up resentment of not being themselves. And they end up burying themselves under every time that they did something they didn't want to do and thinking it was the other that had them do that. So.
Right. And then so that creates that resentment to the other person when it's actually you are the one that has created that scenario.
So we could probably call the pleaser the unpleased, because as an individual, the pleaser pleases everybody but themselves and become the unpleased. Yeah.
Yeah, that's so true. That's a good point. That's really good.
Fabulous. Okay.
So then the next one is number 2 is, like I said, put 2 on, is the poor me. So the poor me, let's see. Is poor me gives up before trying. I'm not going to even try because it's not going to ever happen. Can come across as the victim. You can call this the victim one as well, right? Saying things like dating sucks. It just doesn't work. The world is out to get me, and I'm not wired for love, or I'm not wired to these kind of people. I'm just going to be a cat lady or a dog daddy.
Doggy daddy.
Yeah, I'm going to be a doggy daddy. And then when you're in that energy, it's really hard to attract a relationship, right? So being the poor me. It's a little different from the pleaser. The pleaser is always oh, let me do this for you. Oh, whatever you want. Poor me is kind of resigned and cynical about life, about the world, about dating, relationships.
Well, and you could think of the pleaser as somebody who's always looking at the outside. The poor me is always looking at the past, because everything in the now is based on it doesn't work for me because of, and there's something in the past to be letting go of. The pleaser is all about looking outside of themselves, but the limiting beliefs about poor me is it's just not going to happen for somebody like me. That comes from a past experience that hasn't been released. I'm too different. Nobody gets me. Or my favorite, only my ex got me and he married my best friend. So the poor me often comes from a historical event that has shaped our view of how life's going to go. So those are just some of the limiting beliefs behind the poor me. But it kind of sets you up to just give up before even trying, because you're still in the victim place of the past. Yeah.
Right. So something happened to you. Somebody cheated on you. somebody treated like shit, whatever it is, or maybe even from your parents as well, like with that one guy, a little bit like that. That past event created him as a pleaser, as someone else could have said, oh, relationships never work, or these people are going to do this to me, so I'm never going to even try. I'm not going to even get out there. And then you have this mindset, and guess what happens? It makes it so, right? You believe it. Like, if you believe it, if you think, negatively or positive, it's going to, whatever that is, you're vibrating that out, you're going to get that coming back to you. So if you be that, oh, it's not going to happen. Oh, I don't think, right now, like us awakened daters, right? We're spiritual and we're awake to what's going on. There's just, like, I've seen a lot of people say there's a smaller pool. There probably is. There is a smaller pool. It's true. It's a fact. You keep narrowing down the kind of people you want to be around. It is smaller, but that doesn't mean that you can't find that person or find a person or find several of them, actually, that you could choose from, right? You could go on dates with and figure out, is that the one for you? So, anything else, Liz, about that one?
No, that one's pretty cut and dried.
Yeah. Okay, so next one is the Saboteur. Pull this one up. The Saboteur.
Yeah, and Jan and I were talking about this yesterday, and sometimes the Saboteur is like the baby step out of poor me. So maybe poor me was there before, but then there's like this, you'll notice there's just like the people that give up after trying, like on the fence, 1 foot in and 1 foot out, like always worried the other shoe is going to drop, like not trusting easily. And what that looks like is you show up late or cancel on dates because you're afraid of getting hurt. You talk about how your ex married your best friend the entire time. At least you're on the date, right? You're worried if they're texting other romantic interests when you're on a date with them, or making small issues into big ones, expecting perfection. Like, he wears knee socks that have stripes. I can't deal. So it's those kind of things where it's just getting out there, but then immediately finding all the flaws, or just even not really being consistent with showing up. I think it's the midway point between being on the court and being at poor me.
Yeah, I would agree. So you're actually getting out there, making it happen, but then you find fault in everything, or you get scared and you run away. We need some people like that, don't we?
Yes.
And they sabotage things. They just get scared. They say things that, it's like they're saying things to see if what you're gonna say, to make sure that, see, this is how it is, kind of related to poor me, like you said, but then they actually do like almost, it might not even be conscious.
No, I don't think any of these things are conscious, because I do believe a saboteur actually wants to go on the date, but they're kind of like poor me with a knife behind their back.
Yeah,
because at least did it first.
But they get scared and they run away, or they do a thing. That's what I mean by they do something like in the world, but it's really kind of driven by subconscious, right? The subconscious of related to poor me, right? Oh, it's not going to work, so I'm going to make sure to keep myself safe.
The poor me and the saboteur are both, they're definitely sisters or brothers. But I mean, I think that one of the things that I want to remind everybody is Janet and I are talking on like really extreme levels, because each and every one of us has a poor me and has a saboteur. And it's really easy to see in these really extreme examples, but it's really healthy to go through some of these, like, especially if you feel like you got them all handled, to say, where's an area that I'm not trusting? Where's an area that I'm still feeling hurt about a past relationship? Where's an area where I'm more concerned about this other person? So it's really not just if you have an issue in one of these areas, but certainly some of us do. And then, but we all have some element of this that's important to manage on an ongoing basis.
Yeah, I was going to say, you don't have just one. You could have all four in different levels or different ones. You might have all three, not one, but you might have all of them in some form. But these are the roadblocks that keep you from being people, right?
Absolutely.
So did we talk about limiting beliefs?
No.
Yeah. Okay. So it can't be this perfect. They must be really hiding something. Like you just know, even though it's going really well, there's got to be something. Something's going to
get my investigator eyeglass out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What are we gonna do? You know, something. This can't be. I can't. My life can't be this good. Some. There must be. They must be hiding something. I don't know. You know, that goal is usually around a lot around trust, right? A lot
Mhm.
around trust. This isn't going to work. That's kind of a poor me, but it also, you know, you're probably going to start doing something. You think the grass is greener. Maybe that's another thing you do. You might everything might be going well, but you think, oh, but you know, because you know, one thing I used to say, there's always going to be somebody prettier than you. You know, if you're the most prettiest, one of the prettiest women, if you have the prettiest guy, there's going to be a better looking guy. Who cares? You know, if that's not what it's about. You know, there could be if you go around thinking, oh, there's a prettier, there's a better, there's a, you know, maybe somebody cooks better. I'm just making up stuff. Maybe she's a little bit sweeter somehow. Maybe she, you know, makes me cards instead of buys cards. Cards.
I want the artsy one.
Yeah, you know, I don't know. But she's got everything. It's like the 80-20 rule. It's like if you have someone that has your must-haves, it has 20 to 80, like 80% of what you really want. And maybe that little things, 20% they don't have exactly. You got yourself a gem. A gem. A GEM, not a gent.
You might have a gym. You don't know that. Yeah, absolutely. Well, the saboteur finds many ways to find reason to run from the relationship, whether it's grass is greener, or there's just something up and I know it. My guides told me, you know, there's many I don't like his mother, like, but the saboteur often operates out of fear.
Right.
So that's more of, instead of, they're more like they're looking, so the pleasers looking all outside themselves.
Overthinking.
Yeah, the poor me is like really looking in the past, and the saboteur is like trying to find something that isn't even there. So
Yeah.
these are kind of some cool ways to look at the orientation. And the last one.
Oh, wait, before I do that, I
Oh.
want to say I created an app called Date or Dump back in the day. I'm going to rebrand it someday. But what was really great about the app, it was great for two things. It was great because it allowed you to see what you really like, the kind of person you wanted to date, the kind of qualities, positive qualities you wanted for a person. But it also had you look at because it would give you a rating. You would create your list, and then you would rate 1 to 5 if that person had that quality. Then it would do the math and it would tell you if you should date, dump them, or convert them to a friend, and it would tell you how to do that. Now, one of the reasons I wanted to do this app is not only because there's two reasons. Maybe you're dating someone that doesn't treat you right and you don't know it, and you're not holding to your boundaries and to your standards, what you say you want. The second was of the saboteur, because some people didn't realize they had that gem, that amazing person in their life, right? That they should look like they have all the things you say you want. Even you must be sabotage. You must be becoming a sabotager, not really looking at how wonderful this relationship really is. So that's another thing to look at is.
I love you, Geek Whisperer. You make a formula for everything.
Thank you. So yeah, so let's go ahead and go to the last one. It's the future tripper. Future tripper.
Future daydreamer.
So again, they're worried about the second date before they even get to the first date. So they're like future. They're predicting the future is really what it is, right? They're in the future. Like you said, the poor me's in the past, right?
No, poor me's in the past. Yeah.
This one's in the future, right?
Yeah.
So you're wondering if they're marriage material all already when you haven't even gotten to know them yet. You're rushing into the conversation maybe about marriage. I mean, I've heard people tell me, guys that I talk to, tell me that on that second date, there are people that are talking about marriage, being together, kids, all the women, women tend to do this probably more than men, but I know men do the same thing.
No. It's happened to me twice recently.
Yeah. So
not marriage, but people going, hey, let's move in after first meeting. Like, what? Like, but yeah, no, that's not a carnival. That's a red flag.
Yeah. So, and you're not being present to the now. You're thinking about, oh, I wonder, like when you're with them, like you're on a date maybe even, and you're sitting there. In theory, you're supposed to be present with the person, really being with them, getting to know them. But instead, you're kind of zoned out because he's really hot or he's really nice or he's got the things you're looking for, and you're already creating what's going to happen on our next date or in our on our wedding, our wedding day or whatever it is, no matter if it's you're a man or a woman, right? You're already like really not present with the person and thinking about how it's going to be. So,
yeah. If you're imagining your wedding photos on your first date, you're not like, that's not even in the past. It's in the future, but it's almost like not even anywhere. It's not in a now. It's in a fantasy is what that is. And rushing into conversations about kids, and it's trying to be rushing forward. And some of the limiting beliefs are things like, there's no reason to date if I can't guarantee a long-term future. You're not signing a contract. It's a date to get to know someone. So some people can get really like into the nitty-gritty of things instead of enjoying and getting to know someone in the now. So you actually miss the whole person when you're trying to paint them into, I'm thinking of Back to the Future, into a picture of your wedding day when you're just now getting to experience them at all.
Right. Yeah. So,
and one of the other limiting beliefs is I need to know exactly what the future holds to enjoy right now. And that can create a real conflict, because needing to know the future to enjoy right now actually deletes both of them. And you end up living in your head and not here and now and enjoying what's present.
Right. One of my friends, he said, just get to know the guy. Just get to know the guy. And that's like, just get to know who you're dating. Now, you might see some, like you said, I love that carnival flags, red flags, but that's fine. But I'm not saying, but just get to know people. Just really be present with them, not predict, not say, oh my gosh, this or that. Either way, just really be with them and get to know them and just have fun.
Well, and Janet and I were discussing this. Janet was like, yeah, but there are some ways that, and one of the things Janet's phenomenal about is creating what kind of partner that we want, so that you don't actually end up ever making it generally to the date where somebody has so many different qualities that don't match with you, that would be a potential future partner. And those things are things you can figure out even before you go on a date. So you don't need to be, and that's what Janet is a maven at, is helping you get very clear on what it is that you want in your life, so that being worried about the future isn't as much of an issue, because there are things that are game changers or they're no-goes. But what Janet does is she creates a space in which that's not going to become an issue on dates. Like maybe, it might come up 2% of the time versus 50% of the time because of how Janet structures her program.
Well, thank you. Thank you, Liz. Wow. Yeah. So again, like I said, I created that app, and that's kind of what I wanted to make sure is I kept seeing that people don't really know the kind of person they want to date. They don't really think about it. Some people think, like I said, spend more time thinking about the features they want in a car than they do the kind of person they want to date and marry or be with the rest of their lives. So that's why I created that app. And that's what I actually use to, I don't use the app, but I use those principles, basically my app on paper, and coaching you through that. So that's definitely great. So those are the 4 blocks that are keeping you from really connecting and dating online. So now what can you do about it, right? So first, the first step, of course, is identifying these, right? Identifying these dating blocks and how do you clear them, right? So again, first, number 1 is becoming aware of them. Again, it could be maybe you just do have one. Maybe there's a little bit in all 4. Knowing what those are, being aware. That's what Awaken Dating is about, like being aware of where you're doing these things. I had a coach I talked to the other day. She's a business coach. And she was saying after she got divorced, she took some coaching from a coach. This is years ago, like 20, 30 years ago. But she really took it to heart, looking at what did she do in the relationship that worked and didn't work. Where was she maybe being one of these 4 types of a person in a relationship, and looking at that inwardly. So again, becoming aware is number 1. And then again, this related to your blocks or your patterns, because these are actually also patterns, right, that keep you from love. And then ask yourself why you have these blocks. Who does this remind you of? Could kind of discovering maybe why did this happen? Where did you learn that this was a normal thing to do? Things like that. I don't know if you say
Spoiler alert, everything always comes back to your initial intimate relationship with your parents. So depending on the models that you grew up with, even if you decided you were going to be nothing like them, the counter to a pattern is also a pattern. So the first step is awareness and becoming aware of what the patterns are, and how you develop them, so that you can gain more self-awareness about why you do what you do. And then how to shift what you do.
Yeah, exactly. Because kind of like my client, he didn't know that the reason he became a pleaser was because of his parents fighting all the time. He didn't know that about himself. And then what we started doing was, once we identified that, and we became awake, you could say, then we were able to do something about it. So he started creating boundaries. There's all the things we did, but the point is, we did these things, and then he became someone who stood up for himself. He became someone who started communicating. He started becoming this kind of like a manly, like, take charge of his life kind of guy. Where before, he used to just be this meek little guy. Okay, whatever you want to do. And then became this like more confident guy, making things happen and going on dates.
He started saying yes and no. It's sacred. If you're going to say yes, you have to be able to say no. It's like, instead of becoming a pleaser, he became himself. Like, yes. He started telling the truth about who he was. And so then he could attract someone like that.
Right. And then he became happier in relationships, because he realized before he was dating people that weren't even somebody he should be dating. So it's really exciting for him. So anyways, so let's see, so I guess we're getting close to the end here. So basically, those are the 4 types. And if you want to shift them, become aware. Once you become aware, then there's things to look at that you can do to stop. Stop doing.
And I wouldn't say there's only the 4 types. There are more, as many types as our creativity can create, but those are some very broad, general ones that pretty much applies to most of us. And we all have some aspect of it. But everybody's got their own flavor, and also there's an expanded list. But this is just 4 general types that we shared today.
Yeah. And if you want help, so this is why I created this group, and I want to help people. That's what I'm all here for. I want to help you be able to remove those blocks, those patterns that you don't even know. Like my client, he didn't even know he had that pattern. So there was nothing he could do, because you don't know. What can you do about it? So I can help you with that. Help you discover those, and then we move on from what everyone has their individual specific thing that we would work on. So if you're interested, definitely book a call. We can discuss those options for learning how to identify your specific, like I said, patterns of beliefs and patterns, so we can let them go, and then it results in you going on dates, being present, being curious, and having fun on dates. So
yeah, make dates fun again.
Yes, and have fun. I mean, dates are fun. I think dates are fun. So.
Not if you're in the past or over there or internal or being an investigator, then it's just a replay on an old story. So if you want to write a new story and you want some assistance with that, book a call and discuss your options for learning how you can work with your specific blocks and how one of us could be able to assist you.
Yes, because when you become who you truly are, like fully, like any one of those things in the past, being able to be like your true self, I say the universe becomes your matchmaker. And that's when people come to you. So that's what I'm here for, to help. Both of us are here to help do that. So please book a call. And I'll have the link in the in the comments below. So that's where you can book a call. Okay?
Great.
Well, thanks everyone for being here. And
we look forward to talking to you.
Yes, and you'll see us next week. Again, we're gonna do this weekly. And it's going to be 2 o'clock Central, and then that is also 8 o'clock UK time, British. I think it's called BST for British. So we have an international audience now. So trying to fit in a schedule that everyone can come on. And if you see these live, what's really great about seeing these live is you can ask us questions. You can give comments, ask us questions, and we're glad to answer your questions. Okay. So,
great.
And if you're seeing this live, press hashtag live. I keep forgetting to do this. I'll do it. Remember it next time. If you're seeing this at a replay, press hashtag replay so we know. And if you do have any questions or comments, please go ahead and, if you're watching this as a replay, go ahead and put them in the comments, and we'll be monitoring it, and we can reply to you. So So, anyways, thanks for being here. Y'all have a great rest of your Sunday and weekend, and we'll see you next week. Okay? Thanks, everyone.
Bye.
Bye-bye.